Hey, Book Babes. I'm Aubrey.
And I'm Peyton.
And today we are heading into March Madness season with our own form of lunacy as we are trying to talk about our fat TBRs for March.
Yes, so join us the cup of coffee as we dive between these paper sheets.
All right.
Let's do this. All right, hi everyone. I
Hey.
cannot believe March is here. This is insane. I was looking at my Goodreads reading challenge, and your girl has been grinding away, but I don't feel like I've been grinding away, so it's been crazy. But because I'm not, I am, but without knowing, because I love reading. Like, we like reading, so like having a big TBR is every reader in this world. That's the one thing we can agree on, is that we just have books upon books upon books, and we will never be like, what should I read? If you're a true reader, your TBR is longer than you can't even see the end of it. Anyways, so we thought today would be a perfect episode going into March to kind of talk about what our TBRs look like, what we want to read, and what we have to read. Because one, we're in a book club. Two, we have a podcast. So, I mean, at least the university side of it is that equation is out.
Yes.
But with that being said, there's things we want to read, and then there's things that, sometimes we just have to read. So today we are going to go into our list. We're going to talk about our similarities, our differences, and just have a good, fun, girly talky time.
Yes. This is going to be a very chatty episode.
Yeah,
because
we're
honestly,
just here to chat.
We were talking about this and our TBR list on our way to book club on Monday. And so I told Peyton, I was like, maybe we should just talk about this on the podcast because it's a lot. So if you don't know, there has been a ton of new releases. I'm sure some of you guys are still reading Crescent City because I know if I didn't have to speed read it for the podcast, I would still be reading it for Crescent City. A new JLA book compendium just dropped. Tuesday, literally just Tuesday, if you guys are reading Victoria Aveyard's Lord of the Rings, Guardians of the Galaxy inspired fantasy series, Realmbreaker, the third book in the trilogy, Fatebreaker, just came out, and I'm so excited.
The purple
and so
is
happy.
So fun. Looks like Olivia Rodrigo.
So it's actually, like, the book's supposed to be red, but the Barnes & Noble exclusive is purple, and I had an existential crisis of if I wanted to get the red that, like, this series actually is, or the purple Barnes & Noble, and I landed on the purple because I think it's going to be more unique on my shelf, and I think that's cool, and it's very pretty.
Yeah, red is such a fantasy color. And obviously black and gold, but purple?
Yes.
That is fun. So,
it's so cute. I'm so excited. Also, what just came out, Allie Hazelwood has a new romantasy book, Bride, out, which I have started and we'll get into. We're going to try some Allie Hazelwood out. Coming up even further, but still within March or like right before March, we have Prisoner's Throne, the conclusion to the duology of the sequel series of The Folk of Air. What the fuck? The Crow Prince book. The Holly Black Crow Prince book. Prisoner's Throne is coming out. Yes. Stolen Air is book 1. Prisoner's Throne is book 2. It covers Oak, Jude's younger brother from the original series. That's just the new releases, guys. Like, that's just not even now. Yeah.
Not even later.
I know we did for January kind of looking at 2024 and talking about all the new releases that are coming out throughout the year. And we have a shared hardcover calendar, and that bitch is full. Full of books that are coming and getting released. And I look at it and I go, wow, there's like at least 2 books a month until like September that are coming out that I'm like, no, I really want to read that.
It is insane. And
it's insane.
Yeah, so we are keeping our jobs over here because these authors are writing. But, as we said, we're branching out a little bit. I think it's important to also, genre skip every once in a while.
Mhm.
And in Allie Hazelwood's case, a very romantic, flirtatious writer is mixing in with
Yes.
the fantasy genre for, of course, this
Mhm.
romantasy genre that has now taken over everyone's lives.
Over
Um,
everything. Have you read an Allie Hazelwood before? Because I haven't.
no, I know Check
No.
and Mate is
Yeah.
very popular, and that other
Mhm.
one. Did she write the Love Quotient or the Kiss Quotient or
She
something?
had to write in something else because I Check and Mate like came out in the fall.
Yeah, she wrote
So
whatever. Oh no, she write the Love Hypothesis?
maybe I don't know if she wrote the one that's Star Wars fan fiction, but she wrote one
Yeah,
of the
that's the
ones
Love
that looks like the Star Wars fan fiction.
Yeah, I think
Cause
she wrote the Raylo fic, but I'm gonna confirm because
you
she
can
has a
tell
big
that Peyton and
following.
I are
She's
romance
a big
girls.
she's a big following,
She
and I'm not
is.
about to get. Oh yes! Oh my gosh! Yes, the Love Hypothesis, which is the
Yes.
Raylo fanfic. Check and Mate
Good for
just
her.
came out. Love Theoretically is the other one that.
Yes, that one's huge.
Yes, Love on the Brain I've seen. Yeah, her
She
covers are
posts
always.
TikToks a lot.
Yeah, her covers are cute too. But
Ugh.
anyways, we are gonna try that out. So that
Yes.
review will be coming soon. So that I guess
Mhm.
you could say that is number 1 on our TBR right now.
Number one.
That is most recent
Bride.
Bride by Allie
Mhm.
Hazelwood. It's a werewolf vampire forced marriage story.
Yes.
We'll leave it at that. And
Mhm.
Aubrey and I had to look up the definition of nodding the other day because
You know, you know. If you've
I
seen
guess
TikTok, like, then you might know. If not, stay tuned for I think in 2 weeks when we
yeah.
cover Bride and
We'll
give
see.
our
I haven't
full
even started
opinion.
yet.
We haven't gotten to the nodding scene yet. I mean, I don't think Peyton started it, and I'm like 10% in, but
So stay
we're
tuned.
excited. We're
tuned.
ready to learn.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm really excited that Victoria Aveyard came out with her next book. I didn't even start Realmbreaker, so
I know you need to.
I need to catch up. So, I love her TikTok. Speaking of
Yes.
authors,
Oh
on
my gosh.
TikTok, she is awesome. She's a
I
great
am.
TikToker.
Yes, she's so good, and she's on tour right now, and so she's making tour videos, which are awesome to see. I actually have made 2 TikToks in the past about Realm Breakers specifically. No, I think one was about Red Queen, that she has either duetted or reposted of mine. And so I have really high expectations for myself to make a TikTok about Fatebreaker and have it just be like so good that she would post it. So stay tuned for that. That's my own like kind of mini goal.
You're like, I have this, like, the parasocial wall has been broken.
Yeah.
He knows who
Yeah.
I am, so now
She's
we need to
seen
become
me.
best friends.
Yeah. Yeah. Living
Yeah,
in that
so
space.
and with Prisoner's Throne, I have read all of Cruel Prince. I have yet to read Stolen Air. So once I read Stolen Air, I'm hoping I'll be
You
able to read
should.
Stolen Air right before Prisoner's Throne comes out.
Yeah.
So I can just go like right into it, and then I'll be the one on the podcast that's like, well, I just read when we were at a Crescent
Yeah.
City 3 release party, there were a lot of people there that read 1 and 2 right before 3 came out, and they're like, well, no, this
So
I'm
smart.
like, girl, I read that book 2 years ago. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I've read at least 60 other books in between like then and now. I don't remember everything that happened, so I will be the one that is like on it.
Yeah. Fresh
for us for that, hopefully. So yeah.
Yes.
There,
Dude, I'm so excited to get my hands on a new Holly Black book. Holly Black is like, you guys know, I am obsessed with her world, her writing. I'm so excited. I don't even care like what happens in the book, but Holly released like a snippet of Prisoner's Throne already, and like a month ago or something like that. And if you have read the first one, check it out. If you like, there is a line that Jude says, and I'm not going to say anything more because I don't want to spoil Cruel Prince or like the original series or this one for you, but check it out because she's like, what a perfect opportunity. And if you know, you know, and it's so good. I'm so excited.
Yes, especially since Jude is Aubrey's favorite female
Favorite
kid.
ever. She's amazing. I think that's it for new releases
Yes. For right
that
now,
are coming
just
out.
for
now.
the next month or so.
Yeah.
We're not get
and
into
we
the
also
rest of the year.
yeah, we just finished Visions. We have an episode coming about that next
That's why
week.
we have it. We just
Yeah, that's why we have it
filmed it.
around. But that literally came out like last week. So it's not a real book, which is how we were able to finish it. So it might be on some of y'all's TBRs too. That's still a very recent new release.
Yes.
Um,
a review will be coming out for that, like next
Other
week.
news, another book we have to read this month is our book club book. You want to talk about our book club book, Peyton? Because I don't really know what it is, to be honest.
I already started reading it. So this book is called Remarkably Bright Creatures, and the cover, you'll know the cover if you've seen it.
Yeah.
It's like there's an octopus and it's an aquarium scene. Basically, if so, I don't fully know what the book is about. I like to go into books blind because ever since the whole ACOTAR thing happened, I'm just like, now, no matter what series or book, I'm like, I don't want to know a dang thing. But from what I understand, a lot, and because I started reading it, is chapters are told from a couple different people's point of views, but one of them is an octopus in an aquarium. And this octopus can read. His name's like Marcellus, I think. He can read.
Yeah.
Anyways, he like escapes his tank all the time. He's adorable. He's a little grumpy, like grumpy sunshine. It's hilarious. If anyone's ever read or even watched the book/movie called A Man Called Uva, it really reminds me of that, like, the theme of all this is grief and like how we deal with grief. And I don't like octopi. I don't like sea creatures. I'm not really one to be an ocean girl. I love aquariums, but you will not catch me trying to find one in the ocean. No. But I think octopi are the only creatures that we have found that grieve. They're the only creature. I don't know the scientific.
I believe
I'm just
you.
a reader. I just read books. But they actually grieve. Like when their partner dies, they grieve their partner, like losing their husband or wife octopus. So, anyway, so I think this book is absolutely heartbreaking. There's a couple people in our book club that have already read it, and they rated it pretty highly. And I think this was one of the like top Barnes and Noble book club books of the year. Like it was, if you go into Barnes and Noble like last year, it was there. It was top charts, like lots of praises for this book. So I think it's actually going to be a really nice, awesome book to read. But you know, it's not one necessarily we would pick up right away. People in our book club were like, I love this cover more than the cover in the US, and I disagree. The cover in the US is absolutely beautiful. I'm so happy I bought the hardcover of it.
What does the UK one look like?
It just has like one octopus on it. It's like cute. This one's more like artsy. I want to grab.
Yes. Yeah, because I have it. So I have this one on audiobook.
The font and everything of I don't know. I'm obsessed with this cover. I need to.
No, it looks cute.
Yeah.
I think that I like that more. I don't know what version this is, but this is like another alternative cover on Google.
Yeah, that's
and
the
I don't
one.
like that one as much.
That's the one I think a lot of the girls really wanted.
Oh.
But I love this
I
cover.
like that one more.
It's so bubbly and bright and beautiful, and like that spine on your bookshelf, like all my like just lit fic books. I'm very particular about fantasy series. Like if you separate fantasy series, I think that's criminal. Like it makes me mad.
Yes.
But my lit fic books that are just like one-offs, I'll color code just for aesthetic purposes. This on the blue part of my bookshelf. Are you kidding me?
It's gonna look so good.
Yeah, and just like, I mean, I'm like a little graphic designer, so like just the type, like the font and stuff,
Yeah,
it's awesome.
it's
Um,
beautiful.
I don't even know what publisher this is, but regardless, I'm not gonna go on too much of a tangent here. But oh, HarperCollins. Okay, I was like,
Okay.
oh, you know what?
Yeah.
And I think that this book cover is like eco-friendly.
Oh,
Like
that's
it's
fun.
biodegradable because conservation. Anyways, but if you think
That's
it's
so
just gonna be a
camp. I love
fictional
that.
story about like an octopus like living in the it's not. It's about a woman who lost her son and husband and an octopus who it's like 5,000 days since in captivity. Like he's like a prisoner
Yeah.
in this aquarium. And she
Oh,
works at the aquarium.
yes. Also, about that, so our book club is taking a field trip to an aquarium, inspired by like in March for reading this book. But I'm a little confused about that. I'm not gonna lie because I'm a little worried that this book, like part of the point of this book, is like we shouldn't trap wildlife creatures in like
I thought
aquariums
about that too.
and then going to an aquarium. So maybe we should. I think the aquarium trip's at the end of the month. I wonder if anyone's gonna like read it and be like, never mind, I can't go.
I think we're all gonna be like, well, maybe this octopus we're gonna see at the aquarium's like has a tentacle missing or something. Like, I thought about
Yeah.
that too. I was like, this octopus literally talks about how it's in captivity, and so I
Yeah.
really hope there's a change of the story that's like, yes, but I wouldn't have been able to survive in the ocean, and I'm happy that these
Yeah.
people are able to have these establishments that are able to help people or people, oh my god, like animals and creatures
Yeah.
like me. But when the octopus started talking about his captivity and how he like hates being in his like tank, I'm like, so like I
And
feel
then we're
really
gonna go
bad
to an
going to the aquarium now.
Yeah, like I
But
mean, like I get that there's certain animals that are injured and wouldn't survive on their own in the wild, or like fucking pandas are like need to be so babied, and like it makes sense why we have that. But I also know that like some animals maybe just shouldn't be stolen from the wild and locked up for human entertainment. And so I just was like, this is so fucking funny that we're gonna go to an aquarium if the point of this book is like, don't go to aquariums. I was like,
aquariums,
oh no, we're missing the point. But we haven't read the book yet, guys. We haven't read the book yet.
ignorance is
I don't
bliss.
know. I
We'll see. Stay
I'm a
tuned.
little nervous about this book because I don't like a lot of animals. I don't like animals that seem gross to me. So like rodents, and I would classify a bunny as a rodent. Like I think that's nasty. I won't
Oh
read
my god.
Lee Bardugo's like Hellbent Dark Academia books. They look amazing, but they have a rodent on the cover, so I'm not gonna touch it. Um, so I'm a little nervous. I don't know where I stand with octopuses. It looks cute on the cover, which is a plus, but if they start like describing a bunch of other like nasty sea creature animals, I don't know. I don't know how I
You're
feel about that.
gonna have to skip forward that. As I'm
Yeah.
reading it, I'll mark for you. Be
Thank you.
like
I
trigger
really
warning
appreciate
coming up.
that. Trigger warning.
Coming up.
You're not going to like this.
You are going to be
Oh
grossed
my
out.
gosh. But
But yeah, so
I
that's this
appreciate
month's
yes.
book.
I think book club gives us a nice variety to our reading and exposes us to books like we're fantasy girls at heart and we read some other things. We're looking very forward to Funny Story by Emily Henry. We read Happy Place last year and we're pleasantly surprised. But I think that it's nice to branch out because yeah, I wouldn't have picked up this book on my own. Book club books also are spaced out throughout the month, and so it's like an easy like I know I will read this book throughout the month, but like in small chunks. Whereas all the other books, it's like you have to finish to like get to the next one.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah, it's nice to just like read one book and be done with it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, the book club book, and
Yes.
I think that's
So-
that's it for the book club.
Yeah. So book club book makes 4 books that I want to read in March, and I think if you would say that Peyton needs to catch up on some of these series, that makes 7 books for Peyton in March if she were to try to catch up on these series. I don't think you're going to read all of the Realm Breaker books, but you do have the first one.
I do. I'm looking at it right now. I do have Realm Breaker. If I'm feeling
My
spicy,
Blade
I
Breaker
could do that.
copy is signed.
That's awesome. No,
Yeah, I had to buy it twice to get it.
I have Realm Breaker. No, I can tell you why I'm not reading Realm Breaker.
Because what else do you need to
Because
read?
I am 4 books deep into the Throne of Glass series right now. I'm on Air of Fire currently.
She was supposed to finish before Crescent City, guys. Just so we're clear here.
I was supposed to finish before Crescent City, but because these authors keep on coming out with books like Iron Flame, and I'm in book club, there is no way I was gonna read all of Throne of Glass before Crescent City 3 release. There's no way. There was no way.
It took me like all of last year to read them.
Yeah. Not like, think about just how long it took you to do the tandem read. Like, me having to do all of that in a month's time.
No, it wasn't happening.
With that being said, I'm happy now that things happened in a way that I don't feel like I'm too rushed to read them now. No spoilers, of course. And so I feel like instead of making myself feel guilty, like that I haven't read these books before, I'm like, no, like I could very well find my new favorite character in these books. So I'm just gonna enjoy myself. Try to be surprised. I just met Rowan. So yep. So
you're reading Air of Fire right now, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No one say shit to me, okay? I'm blocking you all spoilers. Out. We're in this Sarah J. Maas group chat on Instagram, and I'll pop in there sometimes, but then they're talking about Throne of Glass. I'm like, girls, I'm not ready for this group chat yet. Do not talk to me.
I'm not prepared.
Like, and I saw a TikTok the other day, and I was like, no, we're not doing this. Like, I want to be surprised. I just said that. So I am like elbow deep into these.
Yeah. Well, it's
a
big series, but I think once you get to like Crown of Midnight, like Throne of Glass and Crown of Midnight are kind of like the opener into the series, and then Air of Fire starts the like broader path of like where you're headed to.
Yes.
With everything. Kind of like in Harry Potter, how like the first books, you're just kind of like fucking around at magic school. But then eventually you're like, no, Voldemort's going to come back. And it kind of sets up the larger stage. Like that's where you're at now, which is super helpful for spoilers online. And if there is ever a crossover and you haven't finished, like you kind of get the picture of where the Throne of Glass series is headed.
Yeah, and honestly, that was very helpful when I was reading Crescent City, and maybe they would make little like alludes to different things, because it's so fresh in my mind. I'm like, oh my gosh, like this, or like now that I'm reading Throne of Glass things, you'd be surprised what I read, and I'm like, yeah, so
familiar.
That is that is a bigger conversation to have, but regardless, yes, Throne of Glass is like, I know we're gonna get there, but I'm just gonna say it, that is the books I want to read.
Yeah.
That is what I want to do. I just want to read Throne of Glass.
Do you want to finish the series like by summer, like by the end of the year? Like where do you see yourself? Like do you think you're gonna read other books around it, or are you gonna like try to really buckle down with this series besides like obviously the other shit that we need to read?
Yeah, so like podcast books, even though I always enjoy reading podcast books, like there is a sort of like feels like a job element to it, just because there's a deadline to like, oh well, we're gonna have to review this book for this. So like as much like I want to read Bride by Ali Hazelwood, but in my head it's not like I don't want to. I want to just pick up Air of Fire and read it. So my want right now is just to read all of Throne of Glass. And so that's The book club books are
I'm
nice because they're never too long, and I also audiobook them.
Mhm.
So when I'm at
Yeah.
work or driving, I try to do the book club stuff because book club's so important to me, and I love going. Um, if it was like a really big, like for instance, the 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, that book was too big for me just because also we were like trying to
Yeah.
graduate college.
Mhm. Oh my
I
god.
think that was just too much for me at that time. But like Remarkably Bright Creatures, like this book, like I'm looking at it, it's not that big. It's attainable. The Allie Hazelwood book seems super
Yeah.
attainable. It's those like these front of glass books, like the longer you go in the
And
series, like they're huge. And so yeah, that
fantasy
really
books
in
get
my
so
mind,
big.
that is
Mhm.
just what I want to read.
Yeah. I'm
Like that's
so
it.
excited for you that you have Queen of Shadows coming up. Queen of Shadows is one of the best books I've ever read.
I'm
It's
so
so I don't
excited.
know, there's fucking crack in that book. Like I know the whole series is really good, but when I was reading Throne of Glass last year, I struggled with the beginning and I struggled with the last book because I'm not a war girly. But that and I also struggled with the tandem read actually. Like I loved everything that happened and I loved the story, but I struggled reading it. But Queen of Shadows, something hits different in that book.
I have a
It's
friend
right
reading
where I want series to exist.
I have a friend who finished Queen of Shadows and was like, "Oh my god!" And then she's reading Kingdom of Ash right now, and she's like, "I don't know,
Mhm.
I just want to read Kingdom of Ash." And I was like, "That's so relatable because like
Mhm.
Assassin's Blade took me way longer because I'm just like so over it. Like
Yeah.
I respect it, but I'm like over it. I'm like I'm over this. Let's
Mhm.
get back to where
Yep.
we are." So yeah, I mean, I have such a big TBR. I'm excited for books, but honestly, Throne of Glass, that's what I want.
Yeah.
Those and in my head, Throne of Glass isn't just Throne of Glass, it's like all the books. Like those are a lot of books to
Yeah.
read. So
Yeah. That's a big one. I have to finish Oathbringer, guys.
yes. Me
I
too.
Oathbringer is the third book in the Stormlights archive, and on New Year's Eve, I finished Powerless by midnight. So at like 1 a.m., I started Oathbringer, and it's the first book that I started in the new year. And I tried to read the physical version of it, but that book's so heavy that I literally got to like 2 chapters in like 2 weeks because it's just so heavy that I hated reading it. But Jacob, my husband, is a Kindle girly and he loves reading on his Kindle. I got him a clicker because he's so obsessed with it. And he read the entirety of Way of Kings, the first book, which, if you guys don't know, these books are 3 books in one. They are over 1,000 page long books. Like, these are mammoths. I think Oathbringer is like 1,300 pages. So that's like 2 600 page books, which is already a large book. You know what I mean? Mammoths. He read Way of Kings in a week and a half because it was on his fucking Kindle and he's obsessed with his Kindle. So then I got it on my Kindle and I got up to part one. Like I finished part one of the book and I think there's like 3 or 4 parts. But then I had to read all this other shit. So I still haven't finished Oathbringer. And it was the first book that I started of the year. And now
You
we're
have to
headed into
finish
March.
it.
And I'm
Yeah.
still reading, but I have it on my Kindle. I've almost finished all of the interludes between each part. He has these little like short stories that are happening other places in the world that aren't like where your main characters are. And so I've almost finished the interludes. I need to have time to get back into it.
That's it.
But
Yeah, when it's late at night and I only have a couple like an hour to read,
yeah.
it's like
Mhm.
my Kindle's there with all of
Yeah.
Throne of Glass. Because I already talked about, I think it was in this episode, right? I talked about the hardcover. I forget.
Oh,
There's
how
been
you
so
need to
much of it.
have?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
need
think
the
so.
Throne of Glass hardcover, and I could have just bought each hardcover as I went along. But no, reading on your Kindle is actually really nice late at night because you can
It
just like
is.
roll on your side in the dark, and when you're tired, you just
Mhm.
turn it off and like like zonk out.
Dude.
Um, but you're like, okay, I have a decision to make here. Am I going to be
Yeah.
responsible and get ahead on my reading schedule for the things I have to get done? Or am I gonna
Or
read Zone of Glass? Who will
yes.
win? Or am I gonna not do any and just scroll on TikTok for the next 5 hours?
Yes. And that's where I end up too many nights. I actually for y'all who don't know, I don't know why anyone would know actually besides Peyton. I am blind. I am actually like probably the most blind person you know that can still see. I am legally blind. I cannot see the big E. Like if I don't have I wear contacts. If I don't have my contacts or glasses on and I'm sitting at the eye doctor, I actually can't tell you where the wall is. Like the wall that they put those letters up, I can't tell you where the wall is. I'm so blind. And so I like reading at night is hard for me because I can't just get like cozy in bed because I always have to get up to take off my contact because I don't wear glasses. I hate them. My glasses are broken and I just have a thing against them. So the Kindle is actually amazing because I can read it without my contacts and hold it up against
Do you
my
just hold it
face.
up to your face like all the?
I do. Literally I read in bed like this. And the font's really big. So I need to start like when I get into bed at night not picking up my phone. It needs to like get plugged in and sit on my nightstand and only pick up my Kindle.
Yep. I'm usually
Goal for
happier
March
the next day
Madness.
too. Yes,
Yeah.
that's
And then
the
I'm
goal
like,
for
"Oh, I
March.
read." Yeah.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, and then you usually fall asleep faster too because you just read. Instead of crying yourself to sleep, you can read yourself to sleep.
Read
And life
yourself to
will be
sleep.
easier. Yes.
Yes.
So is that your like big want is just to finish Oathbringer?
I don't know. I feel like I need to do it and I want to read that story. But I'm really battling like okay, I want to read Oathbringer. I want to read Fatebreaker. Like I know we're not going to cover it on the podcast. So I have no reason to like need to speed read this, but I really want to read Fatebreaker. I still haven't read Swordcatcher, Cassandra Clare's book that came out in October. I still have only read the first 2 chapters of. So I have a lot of wants.
Yes.
I just don't have a lot of time.
Yeah, I know.
And one of my creative writing professors, my favorite professor, Dr. Irvin, has her memoir coming out in March. It's called Rabbit's Heart. It comes out at the end of March. If any of you guys are interested in a memoir, she had a heartbreaking, crazy life where her mom was kidnapped and murdered when she was a child, and then that went into a cold case and then was later like they had court proceedings when she was an adult. And so it kind of paints like what's that like growing up when there's this super traumatic thing that has happened like with your mother and with your relatives and like how that impacted her as a child. I think she talks about like her adult life when they went back into the court and like what it looks like to be in a courtroom for a previous cold case and stuff like. And I'm trying not to get anything wrong, but it's called Rabbit's Heart. I'm super excited. I just want to support my professor, but I also think that it's like an insane topic. Like it's not just like, oh, someone like decided to write about their life because they just want to be a writer. Like no, she had a story to tell, guys.
Yeah. It's not Dolly Alderton.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm super excited. And I feel like and so I really want to read that when it comes out. And I also want to go like back home to my hometown and ask for the book there at like the local Books a Million. Because if you guys didn't know, a lot of the times like smaller books that are getting released that aren't going to be stocked on the shelves, typically you can still go to those major booksellers and ask for them to stock the book. And then they'll get like 2 or 3 copies to put in the thing. And so like that's a way you can support like your indie authors, which she's traditionally published, but it's not like the next, I'm Glad My Mom Died or Everything I Know About Love type memoir. So
that's so exciting. Yeah, that stuff is interesting, heartbreaking, but wow, what a story to read. Yeah, like that's kind of March and beyond. I love doing these videos just to catch up to kind of see where our brains are at.
Mhm.
A little spring refresh. I'd love to come back in April and also look
Yeah.
towards like summer. I can't believe we're saying
Mhm.
that.
It's
Seriously,
getting
cannot.
warmer. I'm so excited. Where are
Yeah,
you
we're
at on your Goodreads challenge? Pull it up. I want to wipe it real quick here. Let's see where we are at because I'm behind. And I think that's my major goal is that I want to read a lot of books this month. So I have read 6 books so far this year, which is like kind of killing it. My
you
goal
are.
is to read 50 books in the year, and I'm only 1 book behind schedule. So my goal for March is to not only stay on track, but I want to get 1 book ahead. So I think that means I need to read like 5 books, yeah,
A book a week.
to get a book ahead.
I have right now. I've.
Mm-hmm.
It's not doing its thing, but
You gotta move your face. You gotta hide behind your phone to do it.
I need to lower my. Oh, you can see my ring light.
Oh, there he goes. It's
Y'all
kind of
made
in.
me up my reading goal.
Yes. Thank you guys so much for that when we hit 100 subscribers. And now we're almost at 200. Will you up your book reading goal by
No.
5 more?
No, I'm not doing that. Okay, so I have 8 of 40 done. I just finished. Yeah, the compendium
8?
guide really helped. 8.
When did you read all these extra? How did you read?
What?
I guess
Third of class.
Powerless.
Powerless went. I finished Powerless in January.
Yeah.
What were the reading dates
What
on that
else?
for me?
Oh, and your Throne of Glass books. Because I was like, I read extra books. I read Cersei, which also, guys, Cersei fucking killing it. Like, that's a great book.
I have to
I
add
was
that
not
to
a
my
huge
TBR.
fan of Song of Achilles. We have a really old, terrible video about it. You can check it out from our early
Yeah.
podcasting days. Don't judge us too harshly. But Cersei was fucking great.
I had to add that. Yeah, Powerless,
You
Ruthless
should.
Vows, Crown of Midnight, Everything I Know About Love, Crescent City 3, The List, Assassin's Blade, and then the fucking JLA book. So 8. I know. I was like, that's weird. I am 1 book
That's
ahead
weird.
of schedule, but that's easily gonna fall in the summer. I just know it.
Yeah.
The Kindle reading,
yeah.
Kindle. I'm not trying to stroke anyone's ego here, but Kindle reading has really changed my life.
Yeah.
I speed read when I'm on my Kindle. I'm like,
Yeah. Seeing the like minutes left in chapter
okay, you're like, I knew
will
another
make
one.
me weep. Yeah. Whereas like if you're just like reading a physical copy, I'm like, I'm not reading another chapter.
Yeah.
So the Allie Hazelwood chapters are long, by the way. Like I don't know what your reading speed is, but it's like 20 minutes per chapter. And I was like, that's kind of long for a romantasy.
I don't care if the book is 800 pages long. If the chapters are short, I read it faster.
I'm reading.
That's where Rebecca Yaros goes correct in her pacing.
Yeah.
Is she's constantly like moving the story along.
Yep.
And so even though Iron Flame was absolutely ginormous, the pacing was great.
Yeah.
Anyways,
The gratification of finishing a chapter.
yes, it feels so good. I don't want to fall asleep halfway through. Sarah J. Maas is hit or miss. I'm not gonna lie, she's hit or miss when it comes
Those
to that.
are long chapters sometimes.
Yeah, Throne
Yeah.
of Glass has really been kicking my ass. But with that being said, we're like, hey, we're doing it. We're doing the dang
Hey.
thing.
March Madness. This is our version of March Madness.
March Madness.
readers.
We should do a Sarah J. Maas like book March Madness thing.
Oh, we did,
have people-
guys. Actually, March, we are almost at our 1 year of the podcast. Our first episode came out last year on March like 6th or 8th. You don't need to check it out, actually. But what you could check out is sometime during, I think actually it came out way after March, but it was around there. We had our own little March Madness trope bracket ranking
Oh yes.
with special guest Neva, Peyton's childhood friend. So that was fun. So yeah, we could do it again with Sarah J. Maas books.
Yeah, I think
Did you
I
see that Sarah did one of those ranking things of like the male love interest, and
yes.
she just it was like the final choice was between like Az and Hunt or so. No, no, no. What
It
was
was
it?
Rowan, wasn't it?
Az and Rune.
Rowan.
Rowan. Yes.
Yeah.
No, dude. All these
Rune.
names, but she picked like Rhysand didn't get picked. Like he was out tier 1.
We love Asriel.
We love Asriel.
Uh,
I love Asriel. I'm so nervous for a book from his POV. That's
Yeah.
gonna kill me. I don't want to be in his head.
Me either, girl. Well,
Anyways,
with that being said, thanks for chatting today, guys. This was so much
yeah.
fun. I am actually going to say goodbye to you now, even though we could talk forever about this. Let us know what is on your TBR this March. How many books have you read this year? Don't embarrass
Yes.
us. We're trying our best. And just know
Keep it
you
below
are
10.
you are beautiful, and you are whatever amount of books you read is amazing, and
Yes.
positive vibes.
Positive vibes. And with that, thank y'all so much for joining us and happy reading.